Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. My name is Emma and you're very welcome. Before we move on, if you haven't done so yet, please hit the subscribe button below and the notification bell right next to it so you don't miss out on weekly content. And now that has been said and hopefully done, we can move on. But before we move on, I just want to state out here that you guys, I don't know if this might be picked up in the video, but there's a lot of work going on where I live. They're repainting, redoing the roofs, and there's just a lot of banging and people making quite a bit of noise, and this might go on for a while. So this video and a couple of videos afterwards might have the secondary noises, but please just pardon me. Just imagine you're sitting here with me and enjoying some of these imperfections. Let's get right into today's business.
Pretty lady, African woman, first time I saw you, I told myself.
In today's video, I will be discussing three very important issues: hair shedding, hair loss, and hair breakage. These issues revolve around the general health, length, volume of our hair, and it is very important for us to understand these issues distinctively and individually.
Okay guys, so just before we move on, I wanted to state out that this video is going to be strictly an informative video. I am not going in depth into the causes and the remedies to shedding, breakage, or hair loss, just because we'll be here for an hour or so. So this is me just trying to explain what these things mean so you understand them, and when you're seeking out remedies, you're actually seeking out remedies for the right thing. You're not seeking out remedies for hair breakage when what you're going through is excessive hair shedding and things like that. So stick around till the end and understand what these things mean so you can remedy them correctly. But do let me know in the comment section if you would like me to discuss in depth on any of the topics in particular, and I'll do just that for you guys because I am here to serve you.
Now, the reason why I decided to film this video is that a lot of times people would tell me their hair is breaking off or they're experiencing excessive hair shedding, but then when I get to talk to them, I realize that it's not really what they think is happening that is happening. So I would start with the first one, which is hair shedding. I am starting with this because this should be the least of your worries. Hair shedding is extremely normal, and if you're shedding hair, it simply means your growth cycle, your scalp, your system is in good functioning condition. Hair shedding simply means that your hair is falling out from the roots, and this happens when your hair has reached the third and final stage of the growth cycle, known as the telogene effluvium. So how you would know that you're actually shedding hair, or what you're going through is just shedding, is that you would see that the strands on the floor or the strands in the bathroom are just about the same length as the strands on your hair. So the dead strands are about the same length as the survivors on your hair. It is said that every human being sheds approximately 100 strands a day. Some people could shed less and some people could shed more. Now, if you're like me and you wash your hair weekly, right, it means that you're most likely detangling and combing out shed hair after every 7 days. So averagely, you should be looking at an approximate of about 700 strands at each wash day. If your wash day is every 2 weeks, you're going to double that, so it will be about 1,400 strands per wash day. Now, how 700 strands or how 1,400 strands would look depends on every individual. So it doesn't make sense when people actually try to use other people's volume of shedding to determine or set a standard or a yardstick for measuring what their own normal shedding is. It doesn't work like that. Reason being that a shed hair of longer, thicker strands would definitely ball up to bigger volume, or what might appear to be more shedding, than a shorter length and thinner strands. Even if we have the same length of strands, it might not typically work the same way because the size of our individual strands might differ. So you might have thicker strands and I might have finer strands. So when our hair falls and balls up, the thicker strands would obviously, when put together, would look like more shedding. You also need to understand that you cannot measure your shed hair of last year with your shed hair of this year. Reason being that when you were looking at 10 to 12 inches of shed hair last year, you might be looking at 14 to 16 inches of shed hair this year. What is normal or abnormal to you might be difficult to decipher in the early stages of a natural hair journey, but as you go on and you remain consistent in taking care of your hair, you will be able to tell just the amount of shedding you have per wash day, and then you can use that as a yardstick to days or weeks when you're having excessive hair shedding. Now moving on to excessive shedding, and this is where people start to worry, and this is where you're actually shedding more than normal. Now what causes excessive shedding? It could be a number of things. It could be stress from, you know, not sleeping or not eating. It could also be excessive loss of weight. It could be childbirth. It could be hormone imbalance. It could be medication. It could be recovery from surgery. Unfortunately, with excessive shedding, there isn't much you can do topically. Like, there isn't a cream or an oil or a shampoo you can use to actually stop your hair from shedding excessively. The only thing you can actually do is to remove or eliminate the stressor. So if you're stressed out, if you've been having stressful couple of weeks, if you've not been sleeping well, if you're not eating right, then you need to check those. Once those are sorted, your body just gets back to normal, and your shedding rate will also regulate itself. And this is why you notice that after childbirth, a lot of women suffer from excessive hair shedding, but a couple of months down the line, their bodies revert back to normal, their hormones are balanced, they're not shedding as much. So with excessive hair shedding, you just need to kind of figure out exactly what is causing it to shed more than usual. Now this is the irony of things. When people start to shed hair excessively, they stress. When you stress about it, all you're doing is making your stress levels go up, which can actually affect the rate of your shedding. So when you actually start to shed more hair than usual, just calm down, just look back at the week before, 2 weeks before. What is it that I'm doing differently that might be causing my hair to shed? I need to point this out. With hair shedding, it is said that if you experience hair shedding for over 3 to 4 months, you should seek help, because it might be more of an immune system disorder or more of an underlying symptom with your health that you need to get checked. Moving on to the next thing, which I think you should actually worry about if you begin to experience it, is hair loss. But first of all, before you rush to stress about hair loss, what do you think hair loss is? A lot of people mistake excessive hair shedding to mean hair loss. Yes, you're losing more hair, but technically hair loss is actually your hair not growing. This happens in the first stage of your hair growth cycle, known as the anogene effluvium, and this means that your hair has actually stopped growing completely. How you would know that you're suffering from hair loss is that you begin to notice thinning patches on your hair. You begin to notice bald patches on your hair as well, and a number of things can actually cause this. It could be stress as well. It could be medication, strong medication such as chemotherapy. It could also be hereditary, and it could be excessive styling. It could be chemical damage, so from dyes, from relaxers, you know, just things that actually affect your scalp or put so much tension on your scalp can cause you to suffer from hair loss. So I don't know if I should say fortunately or unfortunately, but with hair loss, you're able to actually seek medical help. With some of the issues that cause hair loss, you might be able to, you know, remedy it topically by using either medication to solve the problems or using some oils for healing if what you've suffered from is like, you know, scalp injuries and stuff like that. So with hair loss, you can actually seek out help, and once the stressors are found, once the issues are found, they might be able to be resolved the right way. Moving on to the last issue, which I believe is the abnormal one, is actually hair breakage. Now, hair breakage usually happens because there's some sort of imbalance somewhere. Simply put, something is off. How you would even know that you're going through hair breakage is that the strands on the floor are actually shorter than the strands on your hair. Hair breakage could be from excessive heat. Even excessive exposure to sunlight might actually cause your hair to get brittle. Usually hair breakage comes also from cuticle damage or cuticle loss, where your fibers are exposed and no longer protected, they split and then they break. It could also come from just being rough. You're not being gentle with your hair, you're just treating your hair in the most rude way possible, and it stresses your hair and causes your hair to break. Hair breakage can also come as a result of your protein moisture imbalance. So you might have high protein, low moisture, or high moisture, low protein. Either way, with hair breakage, you obviously can solve it by just trying to figure out what exactly is wrong with my hair. Why is my hair breaking off? What have I done recently? I know that when I use heat, when I try to blow out my hair or anything, I experience more breakage than normal. Now, I said more breakage than normal because breakage is kind of inevitable with the kind of hair that we have. You might experience some level of breakage in terms of, you know, when you're styling your hair, detangling your hair, combing your hair. You don't want your hair breakage to be excessive. And once this is excessive and you're not remedying it the right way, you might end up just making your situation worse. So I'm going to actually give you guys an example of what I mean when I say remedying it the wrong way. Now, if you're going through excessive hair shedding and you reach out to a vendor and ask this vendor, oh please, do you have anything that can stop hair breakage? And then for this vendor, to the best of her knowledge, what she believes could cause hair breakage is a protein deficiency. So she ends up giving you a protein treatment or a product that has protein, and then you go ahead and you use this product, right? And maybe it's just excessive hair shedding you're going through. Maybe your protein moisture balance is fine. What then happens is that you've tipped off the balance and you now have a protein overload which can give your hair so much structure and cause your hair to break off. So before you know it, you were suffering from just excessive hair shedding, which was probably as a result of maybe just lack of sleep, stress, or maybe you're just not drinking water or something. But now you've decided to now top it up with another issue of breakage because you have excessive protein in your hair. So it's really important that you understand these things. Just as a recap, hair shedding is normal. It happens in the third and final stage of your hair growth cycle, known as the telogen effluvium. The strands on the ground are usually about the same length as the strands on your hair. There isn't much you can do about shedding because it is extremely normal. However, when you experience excessive shedding, you cannot do much about it except you take out those stressors. Finally, with shedding, if you experience shedding for over 3 to 4 months, you should seek help because it might be symptoms of more underlying issues. With hair loss, it happens in the first stage of our growth cycle, known as the anagen effluvium, and this is when your hair actually stops to grow out of your scalp completely. With this, you're not seeing any hair fall, any hair strands on the floor, but what you're seeing are thinning areas and also bald patches. With hair loss, there is something you can do by seeking medical help. The final point with hair breakage is that it happens in between the 3 phases of the hair growth cycle. How you can tell that you're going through hair breakage is that the strands on the floor are quite shorter. It could happen due to an imbalance telling you something is off. You can solve the issue by balancing things out. If it's pH imbalance, you're also balancing this out. So I hope that this video was very informative to you guys. I hope you liked it. As usual, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with the people that you love, just so that you don't keep this information to yourself. And without further ado, I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.